Welcome into another Wildcat Weekly Coaches Report. I'm Joe Stewart with the Linfield Sports Network, and with me is head men's basketball coach Shanan Rosenberg. Coach, another great weekend for the Cats, this time here at home with wins against Lewis and Clark and Willamette to continue to hold on to first place in the Northwest Conference, improved to 12-3, the best start through 15 games for the program since 1976. What really impressed you about that this last weekend and how you guys were able to pull out these victories at home and keep it rolling?
I think we played well at times in both games, and I think our top group really played well for most of both games. But it was good to get some other guys some playing time on Saturday. We still have a number of things we got to work on, and so it's good to be able to do that through that game. But I'm just glad that we kind of took care of business at home, and Lewis and Clark shot an unusual percentage, just based on their year's performance, and I thought played really hard defensively, and they're definitely improving. That didn't surprise me, and our guys handled that well, and so we were fortunate to be able to come through and move on.
Sure. And the top group played well, but some guys did have to step up. Obviously, Austin Hilton had one of his best weekends he's had all season. Matt Berger played really big minutes off the bench, and Max Lohman was terrific in his first career start. Now, you've got a couple injuries on the roster. We're a little banged up going into this weekend, but Max looked really capable in filling in that guard spot. What do you think that this weekend was able to say about what you guys have as far as your depth for this team?
Well, we've been playing 8 guys, and sometimes 9, and we've had a lot of those guys have played plenty of minutes. There are certain games where things tighten up, and that's just the way it is. Like you watched last night's Whitman and Whitworth game was a great example of that, right, of how rosters can shrink in close games and minutes can shrink, but that's sports. That's basketball, and but we're capable, and we've got guys that haven't played that much that need to really step up and perform for us, and the second going in, this trip obviously this weekend, and then into the second half of league. But that was calculated. We need that out of some of our good young talent.
Sure. Well, another thing that has really started to trend upwards for this team is the defense. It's looking a lot tighter than it did, I think, than from the beginning of the year. Statistically, it's been trending in the right direction, about up to third in the league in scoring defense, third in the league in opponent field goal percentage allowed. But at the same time, still allowing about 38% from behind the arc. How much do you equate to that teams trying to hang with you guys with how many threes you're shooting, whereas actual questions on Linfield's perimeter defense?
No, I don't think that it's really a reflection of that at all. I think really what it's a reflection of is that we try to give teams certain things, and they are either going to take advantage of it or not. Sometimes it goes our way, sometimes it doesn't. We're not an outfit that's made to be a smothering defense like Whitman is, and so we have to do other things and get creative and play in a way that we think maximizes our ability. And I think we're getting a lot better, especially with our top groups, like you mentioned. But, we're going to run into some games where we give some things up that, you don't want to give everything up, of course, but that's impossible.
Sure.
So you got to kind of pick your poison, and some good teams are able to hurt you in a variety of ways. And sometimes that's going to happen in this game.
Mm-hmm. Well, looking ahead to this weekend, obviously, like you mentioned, Whitman, Whitworth, or I think it's the other way around, Whitworth on Friday, Whitman on Saturday. But obviously, 2 of the top teams in the conference, they played last night. Whitman coming away with the victory, 89-80. So now you and Whitman are now tied for first place. But it's not going to be any easy trips to Eastern Washington in this league, especially looking at that Whitworth game first. What do you have to do to be able to slow down their top options and able to keep the offense running against what's been a pretty stout defense this year?
Yeah, they're a little. Obviously they're different than Whitman. And of course we're the lone wolf, which doesn't make it any easier. But and of course I have my objections to that. But it is what it is, and we're going up there and doing something that the Washington schools never have to do. And take on 2 teams by ourselves, but we're going to try to, we're going to do the best we can to limit college and an All-American and They've got other guys. They can really score. I mean, I think their defense is also very, very sound. They really do a good job protecting the rim. They're physical, I think, and they've got good length across the board on their team. And they play a mature defense. Doesn't overwhelm me with speed and pressure, but I think a very sound and capable defense. And for us, obviously, it's not a surprise. A guy who's almost 25 a game,
right.
you got to do something about that. And then, and I think we have to be able to hold our own with their physicality.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then against Whitman, well, that's a system they've been running for years, and it is clicking right now. They looked a little bit shakier through the non-conference schedule, but since conference play has started, they've absolutely been on a tear, averaging, I believe, 111 points a game right now. And it's been on the defensive end as well. As you mentioned, they're doing everything that they do so well defensively in the full court. How do you keep the energy level up on that Saturday game after having to take on arguably the tougher opponent in Whitworth?
Well, I don't know that I have any secret formula for that. I mean, we're playing two very intense games within 24 hours less than that, 22 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to the end in the beginning, you're really only looking at about 18 and a half hours, which is insane.
Right.
But we're being what it is. I believe in our guys, honestly. I mean, I wish I could tell you I had some panacea for that, but it's I believe in our guys. We have a lot of guys who've been through that gauntlet before.
Sure.
And, we've got to measure some things, the way we play and do to try to, aid our recovery, of course. But they're going to be excited. I don't have any doubts about that. And the challenge with Whitman is playing at your pace. And, that's, to me, the biggest challenge, because you're not going to win playing at their pace. Not right now, anyway.
Sure.
They have too many guys that are great at it, and too many guys that really, I think, cause problems at that. And quite frankly, as big a problem as, doing something you don't usually do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the big challenge going there. And, they got 5 seniors on their roster. People forget they lost a lot last year, but, you look at the experience they have coming back, it doesn't surprise me at all that they're as good as they are, and as talented as they are. And, in both games, we're going to have to play exceptionally well to have success.
Definitely. Well, once again, the Cats are rolling off to a terrific start, 6-0 in Northwest Conference play, 12-3 overall, the best start since the mid-'70s. The Cats will be in Eastern Washington playing Whitworth on Friday night and at Whitman on Saturday night. We'll have live audio coverage on the Linfield Sports Network before they come back for a away and home the following weekend against George Fox and Pacific. Coach, thanks as always for taking the time.
Yep, great to be here. Thanks.